Story 1. The loss. It starts with a pet, maybe. Then you cannot find your favorite cereal anymore or your favorite snack. Your go-to restaurant closes. Your favorite actor or musician dies or retires. Friends move away, or worse, they change into incompatible people, but they are still around to remind you of what you had. Your children grow up and have different priorities in life. Finally, you have the finality of losing loved ones permanently. But what really hurts is all the little losses along the way. And what is weird about it all is that there never seems to be enough new to replace the loss of the old. Story 2. I'm not that bad yet, but physical ailments and pains hit you more often, harder, and stay with you longer. Time was, if I hurt myself, a sprain here and there, or got sick, it was just a matter of waiting a few days to heal. Nowadays, even with medical assistance, it's weeks and weeks of aches and pain before something heals. Cuts and scrapes are okay, but muscles, joints, and nerves take forever. It's hard to explain, but you slowly lose the illusion of invulnerability you had in your teens and 20s. Parts of you start hurting for no discernible reason. Doctors stop trying to treat or diagnose you and just say, well, you're getting to that age. Losing touch with friends as they get married, have kids, move away, and build lives of their own. It gets harder and harder to just hang out. I live in New York City, though your experience may vary in small towns. Most painful for some, and a leading cause of midlife crises, is the realization that every day your potential is shrinking. The more you live, the more you're locked into that life. One day you look at yourself and say, well, this is it. This is all I'll achieve and be in this life. You can either come to terms with it in a healthy way or let it depress you, but it's a very different feeling from the sheer potential you feel when young. Sure, when you were young you knew on some level that your wildest dreams are a long shot, but they could happen. That hope dies bit by bit as you age. It's also depressing that the people being portrayed in television, movies, and so on, as active and interesting become younger than you. When you were younger, it's easy to look at a character in fiction and aspire to be like them in the future. When you're older, you realize you'll never be that because it's already behind you. Sorry about the rambling, old age does that to you too. Edit. Wow, I'm alternately depressing and inspiring people with this post. Regarding the loss of potential, it's less that you're too old, and more that you make sacrifices in what you want to accomplish for the sake of responsibilities that come with age. Supporting a family, children, ailing parents, and so forth. It's not a bad thing to make those sacrifices because it means you have something worth sacrificing for. Story 3. I constantly feel like I'm running out of time. The days turn into weeks, turn into months, and before you know it, you don't know where the past decade went. Story 4. My patience, my hearing, my eyesight, my tolerance for stupidity. I want to smack half the people at my job for how brainless and idiotic they are. I'm allowed to use one earbud to listen to music or whatever, but I can't completely block people out, which aggravates me. Story 5. My patience for the young is thin, and not because I was any better than them at their age. If anything, I was worse. But because I can see the direct consequences of their actions better than they can, it makes me want to smack the foolishness out of them. You kids just have no idea what's coming. It's a permanent cycle of frustration that the young don't listen to the old, and then grow up to become the old people the young won't listen to. Story 6. Loneliness. Everyone you know or have known seems to disappear year after year. They either die, move on, move away, or just lose contact for whatever reason. Everything changes around you, so you begin to feel like a stranger. Music, TV, the way people talk, slang words, fashions, it's all unusual after 45. Memories begin to fade, and you struggle to remember parts of your life. Not in a dementia way, just everything is so distant because it was so long ago. Losing anyone gets much more painful because, again, it's another nail in your coffin of loneliness. I have just lost my dog of almost 18 years, and it's heartbreaking, but nobody knows because they have all gone. Story 7. Recovery time isn't just for athletes. It's for anyone past their early 20s trying to function after disrupting their sleep schedule. It's like your body once shrugged off an all-nighter, but now it demands a full day of rest and silence for every hour you dared to skimp on sleep. Story 8. Disappointment in relationships, friendships, romantic, dating, all of it. When you're young, you can bounce back. After so many times over the years, you feel discouraged. And as hard as you try, it's difficult not to carry that with you and have it affect other relationships subconsciously. Story 9. The ability to stop myself from telling people to go home and put some clothes on after seeing yet another massive, detailed camel toe in lycra leisure, wear or pitted but cheeks from behind in flesh-colored lycra. The ability to stop myself from reaching over and ripping off $200 worth of lash extensions on a 16-year-old behind a counter, who can't even be bothered paying board at home. The ability to stop myself from picking up the 2-year-old wandering around the supermarket aisles and hiding them, while their mother looks at her phone instead of the child. The ability to walk around the supermarket without making a sound with each step and wondering if it is actually loud enough for someone else to hear, because I am almost deaf in one ear now. The amazement at just how stupid most humans are. What's more amazing is that a lot of them run businesses and have children with glee that they manage to grow another human. It's not hard, people. The realization that nobody cares about anyone else. Not even doctors or dentists or pharmacists now. Nobody understands the meaning of the word care and the actions and attitude needed to show it. The lack of kindness. Some people don't even trust a smile when you smile at them. Story 10. Loss. Also realizing more and more that people are often really awful to one another, and that's just the way it is. Also, health problems as our bodies start to get weaker. Story 11. The bounce back. Whether it's emotional or physical, it takes longer to recover and it hurts more. Hangovers, cramps, dark days, and heartbreaks all hit harder and take more time to get over. And it sucks. The best thing you can do is stay positive and active. Story 12. Things you want to be small get big. Things you want to be big get small. You start growing hair where you don't want it. And where you do want hair, it goes bald. Bonus. If you are a man, then you get to have your testicles dumped in the toilet. I swear that is what killed Elvis. Story 13. Paranoia about small aches and pains. I don't have more aches and pains than I did when I was younger, but I just pay more attention to them. A small ache or pain that I would have ignored when I was younger becomes, well, I wonder if this is what's going to kill me. Story 14. Lots of weird aches and pains have cropped up since I retired. The latest is a crunching in my neck that seems to be related to my trapezius muscle being sore. Story 15. Being aware of a situation but having to let it pass. In my teens, it was always the hindsight that got me. Now, nearly 30, it's the foresight. Knowing exactly what's going on but having to steer the focus elsewhere and let things fade. Story 16. The older you get, the more responsibilities you have and less time to do them. My father told me this years ago, and I'm 49, and I think he got it right. More and more people depend on you as you get older. Work, family, friends. Story 17. Is my patience. Literally, I cannot think of anything that has gotten worse quicker. Literally, if something starts annoying me, especially noise-wise, I have to leave. I can't tolerate it the way I used to. It used to be, oh, I'm having a fun time. Now it's, get me out of here now. Also, your knees. Nobody told me my knees would start aching in my mid-20s. Now I have to sleep with a pillow between my knees because, well, I guess, kids, don't do those dances that make you drop it low. Just trust me, I'm a millennial. We did it too much and now I can't get back up. Also, cracking like a glow stick. Not just with stretching anymore. Now it's when I go from sitting to standing or crouching. Forget about it. It's just ridiculous. Your tolerance to junk food. I can't eat the garbage I used to, or my stomach will ache fiercely. Hell, I wanted a bowl of honeycomb cereal like I had in childhood. Ate it, and oh boy, my stomach was raging. Flexibility. Use it or you will lose it is so true. I started noticing this going the way of the dodo in my early 20s. Don't let this go. Now my flexibility is as bad as a 40-something who doesn't work out, and I'm embarrassed. I think daily of how much more I could accomplish if that was not the case. Story 18. The ugliness, looking in the mirror, can hurt your eyes. Gray hair, faded eyebrows, soft lines suggesting a future you with sagging features. The list goes on, and it happens quickly. Who are you now? Story 19. My experience is movement. At 48, I was told I need a total hip replacement, but I was too young at the time. They want you to be 65 or older. Now at 53, I can barely walk and need a rollator. My life is over. I lost my job, and I think the specialist who saw me, I outlived him. So yeah, your body breaks down. Story 20. The fact that men don't even check you out anymore. The weirdest thing happens. Men just look right past you, like you aren't even there. No one is letting you cut in line or holding the door open. Well, they do, but now it's because they are respecting their elders, not because they want to get in your pants. I swear I felt like I was living up until 40, and now I feel like I'm falling apart and slowly dying with every passing day, just riding it out till the end. Oh, and the random facial whiskers and the fact that when you feel the urge to pee, you have about 5 seconds to get to the bathroom. There is no holding it anymore. Story 21, bones, and also the realization that at some point you will lose your parents, siblings, and favorite cousins one by one. You could be the unluckiest to die last. Randomly. When you grow old, no one around you, including your children and grandchildren, feels relatable to you. It's not even their fault, as they didn't share much of their lifespan with you. You just witness life fading away each day. People who have this realization are the ones who can accept the end. Story 22. One thing that often gets worse as you grow older is recovering from physical or mental strain. Whether it is bouncing back from a late night, an intense workout, or emotional stress, the resilience you had in youth tends to decline with age. Your body and mind take longer to heal, and you become more aware of your limits. However, with experience, many people learn how to manage these challenges better through healthier habits and self-care. Story 23. Everyone around you is growing older too and becoming aware of our own mortality. I lost my dad 2 years ago, aged 62, and I can't help but notice how everyone I love is growing older with each passing year. It feels like a never-ending cycle of loss. Story 24. A sense of wonder and hope and magic. I used to daydream and be expressive and feel joy more often. I had a mischievous side and energy, even when I was super broke working retail and occasionally eating out of trash cans. Once I went to university a decade after graduating high school, I found that I needed to adopt a more somber, professional persona to be taken seriously by professors and potential employers. I needed to act like I was a reliable, predictable work robot. So I purposely acted like I conformed to that. This carried on into my job, where it is all a bunch of Midwest Christian conservatives who implicitly have very specific norms they approve of. Over the years, that mask of stoic professionalism glued itself to my face, and now I have actually become that steady, bland, dreamless workbot I was pretending to be. My sense of magic was destroyed. My spontaneous joy and rowdy, untamed sense of fun was replaced by measured flatness and seriousness. With some therapy, journaling, and purposely turning more toward less bland adult things like art, anime, fantasy books, and video games, I've managed to occasionally feel sparks of that old self. It's tough to overcome that practiced flatness when it's so deeply integrated, but it's coming along bit by bit. Story 25. Your hobbies and interests, they evolve or fade away. One day you're all about that video game, fantasy novel, or hiking trail. The next, you don't remember the last time you logged in, turned the page, or laced up your boots. Suddenly, you're more into budget spreadsheets, gardening, or crafting. It's not that you're dispassionate now. You've just swapped late-night gaming sessions for early morning market analysis. You trade fantasy worlds for the real-world challenges. The transition is so subtle that you don't notice until you're knee-deep in a completely different life. And sometimes you can't help but wonder where the old you went. Story 26. The energy levels for sure. In my teens and early 20s, I would spring back after a full day like nothing happened. Now it's a couple of coffees to get the engine going and a full weekend to recover from a late night. Adulting is no joke. Story 27. Pain. I'm not even 30 yet, and I wake up with random aches and pains. I injured myself throwing my neck back too rapidly drinking a seltzer last month. Story 28. Every good thing. Eyes, skin, memory, patience, energy, strength, sinuses, your drive. It all seems to slip away. I'm just tired and in pain most of the time now. On the plus side, drugs. Pain pills and cannabidiol gummies keep me moving. Story 29. Your ability to taste. Taste buds can stop regenerating as you age. Your sense of smell also has a high chance of degrading after 70. Combine this with reduced kidney function and the need to limit dietary sodium in our later years, and you get a clear picture of why many elderly people in the West are okay eating food the rest of us view as bland or tasteless. Story 30. Self-confidence. I am nearly 50. Other than the physical health I had 30 years ago, I wish I had the absolute, resolute, ironclad self-confidence I had back then. I have much more to offer now than I had back then, in any way you wish to consider it, but I wish I had the self-confidence to do something with it. Story 31. Starting anew. First, it's excitement for new things. With time, it develops into a combination of, here we go again, weighed by how many things you've tried that haven't worked out. Mistakes or even unusual choices in life weigh more heavily. It's fun to start a new job in your 20s, but it gets increasingly harder to find something if your job history isn't fully consistent. My favorite is how choices from the distant past have an influence on the present. For example, a casual job check requiring a certain grade point average for your Bachelor of Arts 10 years ago. No one cares about master's grade point average, which is a lot better, because your main professor didn't like your face or a minimum of Bachelor of Arts class credits, even though you did your Master of Arts in that field, and somehow it doesn't match the employment system. Don't even get me started on when you have to think about retirement funds, which are low because you've worked in different countries, or skills that you used to have but neglected for a while, or just how hard it is to do some things because you're older, tired, and weary.